Get it! Stop it! Where'd it go? Where'd it go?
Hey, Julian, what are they? What are they?
They are aliens. Savage aliens from the savage future.
They come to kill us and take our women and our precious metals.
Get up, Mort. Do not be near the king's feet, okay? Shh. Shh. We're hiding. Be quiet, everyone, including me. Shh. Who's making that noise? Oh, it's me again.
You're listening to Foundations for Founders, a podcast about startups and life and everything in between. Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Foundations for Founders. I'm Dan in Post Falls.
I'm old Greg. I'm just kidding. It's Angel in Seattle.
Yeah, we were talking about old Greg before the show. Drinking Baileys from shoes. It was pretty sweet. How are you doing, sir?
I've been ill for most of the week, man.
That is no bueno.
Yeah, it sucks. But I'm a trooper. I'm here for the Founder Nation again, doing it. I'm soldiering on, as it were.
I'm glad about that. You sound better. I talked to you earlier this week, and no bueno, sir.
Yeah, it's been all taxes and sickness, which usually go hand in hand. But yeah, I'm feeling better. I'm at that stage where, like, I feel physically better, but now I'm all just sapped of energy and really shaky, like I haven't slept in months, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So.
See, I call that, like, the danger zone of sickness, because, like, you start feeling like, oh, maybe I can start doing stuff, and then you push it too far, and then it gets worse.
So I think I pushed it just far enough, I hope.
Well, just don't push it real good.
Okay.
How many more references can we make? Old Greg, Salt and Pepper?
I'm quite a few, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure we can. I'm sure we can.
Trolling me, bro?
Always. Don't tase me, bro. Nobody's talked about that guy in years.
What happened to that guy?
The dinosaurs roam the... I don't know. I think he got tased.
One too many times.
Yeah, no kidding. That would be awesome to find out what happened to him.
Let's see. What did I do? We hired a guy. I got to go do that.
That was awesome.
We got a few posts up. I've been working on our CRM database. What else have I been doing? I cleaned the motorbike chain today and put wax on it. So
did you wax on?
I did.
Wax
yep.
off, or?
I swept the leg twice, and but mercy's for the week. So
it is mercy is for the week.
So and then that happened this afternoon. So now it's all ready for a bunch of rain. Yeah.
Right on.
I hate rain. I'm tired of it.
Oh, yeah. I don't mind the rain. I just blame it on the rain.
Yeah. As well you should.
Right. I got to stop with these references because I will just go down a rabbit trail.
True.
A
rabbit trail? Rabbit hole?
Rabbit trail, rabbit hole. There will be rabbits and it won't be good.
Turning molehills into mountains?
What do moles have to do with it?
I don't know.
Do we speak only in metaphors? Like the opposite of Dave Bautista's character in Guardians of the Galaxy?
Do we answer questions with questions?
I don't see why not.
You sure? All right, man. We got.
Okay. Yeah, we are totally.
Sure. I'm sure of this.
Oh yeah, we have stories. We have lots of stories. Should we just get into them?
Yeah, we could. What'd you do this week? I guess.
Oh man, this week. Man, I feel like I've done a lot. Again, we hired that guy, so I was kind of involved in that. That was mainly you, though. I've been reaching out to some auto sales blogs to kind of promote HaggleChamp. And so I've been talking to people there. Oh, I was on the Ask Gary V show this week, one of my questions.
I saw that.
So that was pretty cool. Got to plug HaggleChamp real quick, so that was fun. I've actually had still people talking to me about that from
nice.
online, just reaching out to me. Yeah. So that was apparently a good thing for us. I'm stoked about that. Let's see. You know the little Haggle Champ figure? If you're not following us on Instagram, you will see a custom pop vinyl I had made that looks like our logo, but in a figure form. Anyways, went down to the dollar store this afternoon, and I found chroma key green construction paper, large construction paper. So basically, I can make a green screen studio for the little figure.
Out of construction paper?
So I can... Yeah, it looks perfect. Awesome. It's not construction paper. It's like poster paper. Yeah, the big stuff. So
that's pretty cool.
This will be perfect for the...
Cool. I was falling down the vortex of Twitter a few hours ago, and there's like a little how-to video on making a miniature crossbow out of like hair clips and popsicle sticks, and you can shoot little matchsticks out of it. Have you seen this?
Oh, that's
so
awesome.
Cool. It is so cool.
This sounds like something from like Gremlins 2.
Yeah, I'm like, I would totally want one, except I actually own a remote control helicopter that fires missiles out of it, so like I'm pretty much set with projectiles. I do.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What kind of projectiles do you have, sir?
They're just little foam missiles. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
It's pretty
that's
slick.
Cool.
But I'm like,
do you ever use it on your...
Oh, God, yeah. I terrify the dogs when that thing takes flight.
You so know I was going to ask
man,
that.
I terrorize them. Like, and it's not real good because it's RF, so like it would be better outdoors, but it's still small enough where like the wind would kind of beat it up a little bit, so it has to be like perfect conditions, or you got to fly it around in like the inside of a gymnasium or something. Whereas I have one you can float around the living room, which is infrared, and that one is way easier. I mean, if you like blow air really swiftly toward it, you'll actually knock it off a flight path. So you do gotta it's for like smaller rooms and stuff, but the bigger one is too large for like the living room. Like you can't get it to balance before it like shoots up and drills the ceiling kind of thing. So it's difficult to maneuver. But yeah, I got it to at least hover and float back and forth and shoot stuff at the dogs. It was cool.
That's cool.
Because I'm an ass.
Right. Well, I know that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Also had a meeting with our one of our co-founders today, Tim. Shout out to Tim. Yeah. And just to going over some of the enhancements we're making for the future for Haggle Champ.
Am I still supposed
Tim liked him. Tim was happy.
I'm still...
Tim loves tie-dye shirts.
Really? I'm still shouting out at Tim.
Oh, big time. Tim! Yeah. You're my boy, Tim.
Timbo.
Timmy. No. Yeah, so no, it was good. Good week. Just a lot of crazy stuff. Hoping to go and hang out at the Spokane Auto Show next week.
That sounds good.
So if you listen to the show, you'll probably see me down there. I'm gonna try and give away some of our red bags and just talk to people about Haggle Champ. So it'll be fun.
You could always tweet at us. Now we are at FFF_nation on the Twitterverse.
Absolutely.
That's true. That is true.
Yes.
Also, email us your questions, foundationsforfounders@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you.
I would love that. I would love some questions. Yeah. So we've got some pretty fun stories and a pretty interesting discussion topic later. We're going to talk about the philosophy of sales and how that's being interpreted among a younger generation. So I think it'll be kind of fun because our product mainly depends on sales, so we're a little biased, but still it's interesting. But anyways, yeah, we got some awesome stories. So should I just get to them, I think?
We could give it a minute.
Okay, let's wait. Steep some tea, people. Relax, get ready for the stories.
And yeah, now we're ready. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, I didn't know. So the other day, I tweeted. I think tweet or Facebook, one of the two, that I was listening to classical music and playing iPad games. That really happened.
Yeah. I saw that. I think it was on the Facebook.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was playing Uno on my iPad while listening to classical music, and it felt right, and I don't know why.
Wow.
Yeah,
You gotta get out more often, sir.
I know I do. I know I do. You're not the first person to tell me that this week alone. Yeah, yeah. I do need to get out more. Um, all right, so the first story comes to us from cnet.com. And first Ubuntu phone will be sold in limited run flash sale. So the BQ Aquarius E4.5 Ubuntu edition is an alternative to the iPhone and Android and will be available in Europe. This is the first Ubuntu phone finally going on sale. It isn't just the software that makes it quite a bit different. It will be available in a grab it while you can limited flash run.
Mm-hmm.
The new version of the BQ Aquarius E4.5 smartphone is the first chance for the public to buy a phone running the Ubuntu operating system. It will be sold in a series of flash sales, each lasting for a limited period of time. Details for the first sales will be announced on February 10th on Ubuntu's Twitters, Google+, Facebook, and other pages. So you're the man with Linux. Do you want to talk a little bit about Ubuntu?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, Ubuntu is there for, I mean, not having seen the phone obviously yet, is their operating system that is the most graphical user interface friendly, which is more using the mouse, point and shoot kind of thing. What I thoroughly enjoy and use Linux Mint and Ubuntu on a few of my devices is that everything is really boiled down to read, write, and execute. So there are no drivers, for example, if you're in the Windows world, and it doesn't depend so heavily on Java versus Flash and things like that that may or may not interconnect very well with Apple. And Apple's biggest company problem, at least from my perspective, is that in order to get to the intranet of your said company, a lot of times you have to use an overlay like Citrix to get in and out of there. Not a huge fan of direct access either, to be perfectly honest, but from the Windows verse. But it is very, very easy to use. It has a lot of really, really powerful open source tools, and that's basically the backbone of Ubuntu, is the ability to help develop from within a community. It's completely open source. If you read their end user license agreement, it's hilarious because it basically highlights the fact that there is no end user license agreement. So,
oh, that's funny.
Those are kind of funny. Yeah,
There's your phone.
Yeah, I asked the Founder Nation to tweet at us. I'm wondering if that's what this is.
Oh, yeah.
Stay fresh.
Nice.
All right. I suppose that means we should break for me to go take a shower. I don't know what that means.
Right. Maybe.
I'll stay fresh.
Maybe. Yeah, totally.
James,
you're fresh. So fresh and so clean.
1312 something. Ampersand. Yeah. I'm staying fresh for you, Jimbo. Welcome to the show. Yeah, dude. The flash sale thing is how the OnePlus One, which is the phone that I have, went around. You had to have an invite. It was a limited run anyway, and they only have two kinds. They have a big 64 gig flash memory one, which is the one I have, and then they have a smaller, like 32 or 16 or something, which is the white one.
Mm-hmm.
But I knew it was coming. I didn't think I would get my invite for it. And a friend of mine ended up getting 2 or 3 because he was in on like day one. So I actually basically bought the invite essentially. He picked up the phone and then I just bought it from him that day, which is pretty slick. This is Android based, which is very similar to Linux in the open source fashion. But there's a lot of proprietary junk nowadays on there. I did think it was interesting in your article on this phone that they tested all of the Ubuntu stuff on Google's Nexus products, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe that's the case.
So go figure there, as Google is the origin of Android and all that stuff. They're very, very similar. Love my phone, though. This was touted as the flagship killer because of all the specs that it had and stuff. It only works with AT&T or T-Mobile because you have to have the card or whatever. But super nice phone. I'm super stoked with it. It cost me like $350 and no contract anything. I own it, which is amazing. The problem is I can't replace it. If it gets broken, I have to buy it. And now they're like $550 or something. I think they are selling the OnePlus One, just not over the counter, but at their website, like open now, because they have enough supply to meet the demand.
Yeah, I'm looking at the phone right now.
It's ridiculous. Yeah, this phone is
it looks
legitimately awesome, and like this screen gestures, all that stuff. So it'd be interesting to see if Ubuntu can handle all of that. Like this within the Android modder world, right? Like if you go to XDA forums, a little plug there, or any other spot where you can code develop for Android phones and things like that, like rooting your phone, which is kind of cool because you can put different ROMs on there, right? That would be like operating systems for a computer, so to speak. One of the biggest powerhouse aftermarket ROMs for an Android phone has been CyanogenMod. And CyanogenMod is who exclusively developed the version of Android that runs on the OnePlus One. And I've been using CyanogenMod for a long time. I helped bullet and bench test. I was a lot more active in the community a long time ago than I am now. But it's super clean. I was very, very unsure, like, it's pretty stable when you do ports and carry stuff over from one device to another non-native device that you just, it's Android, so it'll work for it. Kind of. It was optimized or designed for 2 phones ago when they had enough time to bullet test it, right? Well, this, they designed directly in-house. It even says Cyanogen on the back of the phone. And they did a marvelous job with it, man. I've only had like 2 big over-the-air updates. They were all stability check stuff. And it's been absolutely wonderful. Like, the hardware's phenomenal. The one thing I don't like about it, or at least took a lot of getting used to, is this thing is a tablet for your face. Like, I swear,
is it that big?
It's huge, yeah. But I mean, without a case on it, the tactile feel is really nice. It's got this like almost sandpapery kind of eggshell plastic finish to the back, and then it's got the glass kind of bubbles over and stops, doesn't go all the way to the edge, so it's all trimmed in metal all the way around. And the cameras are ridiculous on this phone, like 6 up front, 13 in the rear, which is cool. All flash memory, which is interesting to me. I've always had cards in most of my phones up until now, so that took a little getting used to, but it I don't think I'm going to use 64 gigs of memory on just my phone. I'll keep big files on there. I have a handful of PDFs, a few transferable documents, and so on and so forth. But back to CNET, they don't give us any specs on the Aquarius E 4.5.
Well, and we looked for it before the show, just anywhere we could find it. The only thing we were able to find was the price, which is just about 170 euros, or about $92 US, or $192 US. So
which is good, but I mean,
it's a great price.
It seems like it's going to be a bargain alternative phone. I don't know. It's very pretty.
I almost wonder
it's shaped just like an iPhone. It's got that weird square edge, and
Well, I'm almost wondering if it's like that Firefox phone, the first one that came out, that really specs-wise wasn't dazzling. It was a little bit better than some sort of like pay-as-you-go phone.
Yeah. Which I will say, for at least my history with Ubuntu in computers, because I've ran it on XP design machines, I've ran it on Vista, optimized for Vista, and I've ran it on Windows 7 machines. I have not yet flashed and optimized for 8 or 8.1 hardware, but Ubuntu has long been really, really good at really making absolutely everything of the hardware that you have. Right, so for that, I'm sure it will use every ounce of whatever, but I think it's going to be a budget phone, man. I think it's going to be like 1 or 2 tiers better than one of those Android burners that you can get from TrackPhone. You know what I'm saying? So like, like, which would have been cutting edge,
But I don't think it's going to compete against your OnePlus One or like the iPhone 6 or.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, I didn't
At least not this go around. Maybe in the future, but not right
Yeah,
now.
and I didn't know how future-proofed my OnePlus One would be, knowing it would be kind of a risk. It was a cheap risk, knowing that I couldn't replace the hardware unless I outright bought another phone or whatever. But it does have, it'll surf on 5 gigahertz bands. It'll do AC, 802.11 BGN, which is awesome. So for me, like I'm gonna connect to, as things roll into AC and 5 hertz and stuff, like I'll be able to stay connected, and almost exclusively when I talk to you when I'm at home, it's being dialed through internet instead of my 4G. So like, I mean, the call quality is not that bad, and I usually stay with reception. I have a couple dead spots unless I turn my Wi-Fi calling on, but so far so good. I'd love to see what this thing can do. Unfortunately, I don't live in Europe. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, and we can't even tell what networks it's
Yeah.
on to.
Don't know if it's going to be
so
GSM, CDMA, if it's going to surf 80 hertz. Don't know. We don't know.
So I guess we're in agreement in that we'd love the idea, but would love to know more about
Yeah,
it.
I think it's cool. I mean, like, you can either buy Ubuntu or download it for free, and they're like, hey, if you feel like donating to us for this, go for it. If you feel like buying a suite
Right.
out of the store, go for it. Otherwise, here you go. So you can get an ISO from anywhere for free, and it's not against the law. Like, again, no end user license agreement, with protected softwares and stuff. So pretty cool. I've really, really wanted to see them do this. I have had base versions of Linux on other phones before but they were nightly builds. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
things buggy, the camera doesn't work, all that. So you just kind of want to see if it'll actually place, receive calls, send texts, things you could punch holes into. But I don't have that kind of time anymore. But I love it. I think it's really great. I think that more competition for software in the marketplace would be awesome, even though it is quintessentially stripped down Android and stripped down iPhone. They're very similar.
Right. Yeah. Well, all right. So let's get on to the next story then.
Okay.
Which
You're like, I don't care.
maybe.
We're moving on.
Well, no, it's just you know way more about that than I do. But one thing I do know about is kittens.
Yep.
So from motortorque.org, Uber, an Australian animal shelter, launches kitten delivery service.
Oh, God.
Really? Come on, man. This may be one of the greatest ideas of all time. A ride-sharing app, Uber, has teamed up with an animal shelter in Australia to launch a kitten delivery service. If you're feeling a little bit stressed or down about work, then download the Uber app, click and request a kitten button between noon and 4 p.m., and get 15 minutes of cuddle time with a fluffy little kitten. This instant little joy can be yours for $40, and all money goes to charity. How is that not awesome?
No.
It's because you don't like animals.
You don't even get to keep the cat. And even if you did, this is what, Australia, you said?
Yeah.
Okay. Check this out. Not just Australia. Nay. Not only Australia on board with the animal deliveries, the U.S. service also runs a similar puppy initiative. Like, I can kind of get on board with that, almost. Not because I prefer dogs over cats or anything, but, like, at what point does, like, some random person show up, take $40 from you, and be like, all right, you're on the clock. How weird and awkward is that? And then they hand you some, like, likely to be random feral cat that they find in the middle of the outback somewhere. I don't know. Like, you can sell it because the app interface looks clean and the cute kitten pictures, but really?
Yeah.
I think it's a money eater. Like, it's a good party gag, I guess, but I don't know, dude. Like, you'd really have to make this thing go and work in order for them to spend
what would be the best?
So much time and money on this. What would be the best?
So you're in an office, right?
No, well, not right now, but yes.
No, but like, for this gag. And like 8 of you request the kitten for somebody else. So now for 15 minutes they're the crazy cat person. Because they have like 8 cats just running around their office.
That would be pretty epic. I want like the
Right?
delivery person stays with you or whatever.
Just judging.
Or just like, I'm gonna go get a sandwich. Here's your cat. I'll be back in 15. Like,
yeah, exactly.
how awkward, man. I don't know how this would work in real time, dude.
I love the picture too, where it just says black car SUV Kittens.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah.
All right, so the cats are
good
cool.
comment point though. It says, some dude named Joe Farugia. He says, yeah,
Yeah.
because cats love to ride in automobiles. Rebutted with better than being neglected or worse.
Touche.
No, dude.
I want somebody's
Are you gonna
office
do
to
it?
be just herded with cats.
Are you gonna request an Uber cat? Tell how
Yes,
it goes,
I wanted
dude.
I know, Uber Kitty to way.
Yeah, that would be a pretty. I could find worse ways to waste $40, I guess. Right?
Right. So at least it's funny.
It's just such a waste. I'm not on board, dude. I don't know. I'm not on.
What if we Uber cat Lucky?
Well, the cat's only in Australia though, dude. Like,
Okay, well they said there's dogs in the U.S.
And we'd have to catch them at work, which is
That's hard to do.
Well, it's not hard to do. It's just it's a very non-animal friendly environment. You got to, health concerns there. But like, yeah, absolutely. Would I love to do that? I suppose we could look into it and just creep on his house or something and have like all these Uber dogs just show up.
I love how we're trying to be sneaky on an internet podcast. So he could easily just hear this and then just be like, you know what, guys? Uber dogs to you. Yeah.
No one really listens. You don't have to listen. You just have to download.
Just nobody tell Lucky to listen.
Yeah. Earmuffs. Yeah.
Earmuffs. Come on. Don't tell Lucky.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Shout out
Let's move on to our final story. Tim won't tell. Tim won't tell at all.
Well, I'm just shouting out. So.
Yeah.
I suppose we should shout out to Tim until he's on the show.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh, and we haven't pushed our Get Ralph Macchio on the show
Not
either.
yet, man, but I asked him straight up. I tweeted right at him.
Yeah, so have I.
Nothing.
People, we need your help.
We got to get Ralph Macchio.
Tweet at him. Get him on the show.
Send him an Uber dog.
Send him an Uber dog, Uber cats from Australia.
Don't tell him we sent you.
I want a little cat that goes, meow, mate.
They don't do that, man.
That's stupid. What?
Meow, mate? Just because they're Australian?
Yeah, because... Yeah. That's not a cat. This is a cat. Little bit.
That's all right.
So, all right. So the last story comes to us from the Wall Street Journal. This is actually a story we've been talking about for a while. Radio Shack begins the wave of liquidation sales.
The Shack is gone.
Retailers said in bankruptcy court it could not afford to lose a weekend of sales.
Bad.
So, yeah. This weekend we will start seeing the final rounds of sales at 1,700 Radio Shacks. This is the first wave of slated for liquidation as a consumer electronic retailer tries to cut down its chain in Chapter 11 bankruptcy. Yep. Dun dun dun.
That's horrible.
So, yeah. So the Shack is shutting down nearly half of its 4,000 stores. Yeah. And there's a lot of them.
We kind of called it.
Yeah.
No more Rock'em Sock'em Robots or AV connections for, VHS players. Can't find them anymore. You have to go online. There's no Shack. There's no Shack Fu. There's nothing. It's gone. It's closing.
Well, and there's a lot to figure out because not only do they have all these stores and all the leases that we talked about previously, but they owe bondholders about $330 million.
Sure.
They owe creditors about $124 million.
That's quite a bit.
And landlords about $30 million.
So what is that total to? What were those figures?
330, 124, and 30.
Wow.
So a lot of money they owe. I mean,
330,
it's bad.
124, and
And 30.
I should be able to do this in my head, but I don't feel good. $484 million.
Right. 484,
Yeah,
yeah.
$1 million. That's an
Almost
awful lot.
half a billion. Almost half a billion.
Which
Think about that.
means they're going to what? Sell their remaining lease to whom? If they're in bankruptcy, then usually there's a receiving agent owned by a creditor or something, right?
I think right now nothing's official, but I know that we've talked about how Sprint is kind of waiting in the wings. There was a report earlier
Well,
this
for
week
retail
that
space only, right? Like they're
Right.
just looking for landmarks like real estate. Like, boom, I can move Sprint right in here, which I think is brilliant. I think that's a great idea because Sprint's the smaller guy, right? Are they larger than T-Mobile?
Right.
I thought they were like number 4.
No, they're number 3. T-Mobile's number
Okay.
4.
And those guys are making some aggressive moves. Holy cow!
Oh, have you ever followed the CEO on
Yeah,
Twitter?
the guy's crazy.
Little bit.
A little crazy.
Little bit.
And I've been a
Little
T-Mobile
bit.
customer since they were VoiceStream Wireless, like forever, right? But like I see their
Right.
TV ads and stuff, like they are aggressively going after it, man. Like we'll buy you out of your old contract, we'll give you rollover data, we'll, all this crazy stuff. But anyhow, back to the Shack. Sorry, take us on those tangents a lot.
Well, and another possible buyer for the space at least the rumor I saw was Amazon. That Amazon wanted to have storefronts.
Storefront for Amazon would be horrible. Additional shipping centers would be perfect.
I think like a place to just drop it off to return it would be amazing. So you can get your credit back and go back to shopping on Amazon.
I suppose so. Like the return procedure as it stands is actually pretty solid.
It is solid, but I mean,
you have to have a printer,
get,
but it's solid.
Right. But I mean, if you don't, then
I could see that. I don't know that I would storefront shop something that I'd go to Amazon with absolutely nothing in mind. Right? Like I use their service that has the like pantry box for like cleaning supplies and stuff. And then but I don't buy like food or clothes through there typically. I'll buy like tools and parts and random stuff I can't find, and then toys from time to time, and motorbike stuff
or electronics.
But like, how could you make a storefront out of the largest online retailer of everything?
Right, and that's why I'm kind of thinking like a return center or a shipping center, like you were saying. That makes more sense to me.
Yeah, shipping centers would be sweet because then you can get more same day stuff, right? Like in more areas or whatever. I have good and horrible stories with Amazon, but it's mostly due to shipping.
But if you could buy something on Amazon and then same day pickup or pick up within an hour, just go to this. That'd be great.
Yeah, I suppose I could see that if I lived where you lived. Yeah. I mean, but I'm in Seattle, so if it's same day, it's listed as such, and it's usually always here because they only ship from Auburn, which is like 17 miles away or whatever. So that puts an interesting business question on there. If you were Amazon.com, what would you do? What would you change about Amazon.com to make it better for the consumer as it stands?
As it stands, without a storefront?
If add a storefront here is your answer, that's acceptable. Just what would you do? Is that it? Like, what would you do to optimize or change for the better how it is now?
I don't think storefront's the answer. What would I do to improve Amazon? I mean, it's hard to say because they're pretty awesome as it is, except for like their phone that didn't go so well.
Yeah, that was a failed move in marketing, I think. Yeah,
a little bit. What would I do? I don't know. Like, I guess
I got one. I know what I would do. Whoever is in charge at Amazon.com of filtering who is a good and who is a not good retailer to bring under the umbrella, right? Because you're not buying from Amazon, you're buying from a company through Amazon, right? They should really, really filter those guys a lot better. I don't know how you do that based on review, based on quality of service and turnaround, based on whatever. But I bought my buddy he got into going back to the safety razor for the razor blades instead of
Yeah.
using the expensive ones, and he really likes it, right? Like he's like, well, it takes a lot of getting used to because you gotta relearn how to shave your face and stuff, but super enjoyable. And I've got these blades that I'm never gonna run out of. Like you buy them in bricks of like 1,000 or whatever. He's like, but there's this other blade, like the Featherlight brand or whatever he said it was, that is supposed to be super awesome for this, right? And I'm never really gonna run
Mm-hmm.
out of these or whatever, so I just didn't opt for the extra 40 or $50 or whatever it was. So I found them and I got them for him for Christmas. So I ordered them off of Amazon, and the distributor was in like China or Thailand or someplace where it would cut international shipping or whatever. So it tells
Right.
me should arrive between December 19th and December, or no, it was December 3rd and December 19th. To this day, I
Mm-hmm.
still haven't received those damn blades. Like,
Oh
filed a
wow.
claim, filed another claim, and then was like, just give me my money back. And if they do somehow get here, I'll slap return to sender on it and send it back. Like, it's now February. I ordered these in November. Like, whoever's in charge of the actual, like, placement of realtor, like, the retailer that is under the umbrella, I think should do a better job, especially if it involves international shipping. Because I knew it was going to take a while. It's not the first thing I've ordered. I had to get some unique electronic piece I had to get from like Thailand or someplace that shipped
Mm-hmm.
out, and it took like 6 weeks or something, and that was expected. That's why I ordered it early. But they never missed the delivery date. But I'm kind of like, there's nothing I can do about it. You know what I mean? Like, so reached out to the company, no answer, obviously. Like, it's just like that's one thing I would change. If you could filter international or domestic retailers that share space with you that actually sell product through you. I don't know if it's a rating based system or whatever, but like there's got to be a better way to get a functional service going. I know I've ordered stuff years ago in the past from Amazon.
Yeah.
Or,
Are you
yeah,
there?
are you with me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. All I heard is you ordered stuff in the past from
Oh yeah, I
Amazon.
got like it was like a sticker banner for some friends of mine that were into cars and car building and stuff. And so this guy made a few stickers, and I ordered a bunch that took forever to get out because he was making them per order. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like he
Mm-hmm.
had, oh, same day delivery or whatever. He actually had to receive the order, make the thing, and it wasn't listed as such. It was just like, oh, same day delivery and next day delivery, and it took X amount of weeks to get there, and that was back then, and it was kind of like the Wild West of Amazon days when I did that. But they've gotten so much better. But I think if that was one thing I could optimize, I would put a lot of focus into how fast can we get the product to the customer, or find an alternative for the same price kind of thing. Because there's not a lot of competitive bids. You buy from retailer you select, and that's it. If they're you know, in Maryland, that's where they're at. If they're in Taiwan, that's where they're at. You know what I mean? Otherwise, buy from somebody
Right.
else kind of thing. So it was kind of a bummer because I was just it really my expectations were probably too high for even at a month and a half. I even gave them an extra 2 weeks before I started reaching out. It was just bad. So I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. That's one thing.
Well, yeah, that's one thing. The one thing now that you're saying all that I think of is what about like when I go onto Amazon and we have Prime, we have an Amazon Prime account for the
Hmm.
company, and it's hard to figure out which one is Prime and which one isn't.
Well, doesn't the product say
It,
Prime eligible somewhere on it?
yeah, and it's kind of really tiny and it's kind of there.
Right.
I would love for it, like the Prime ones, especially because it should auto detect that hey, this is a Prime
Right.
user. Shouldn't my first few entries be Prime, even if I haven't defaulted to that? You know, I shouldn't have to hunt around and trying to
Oh,
figure
you
out
mean
which
like
is
your search
which.
results? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know if they can filter that way because that would be unfair to the retailers that can't subscribe to the Prime service eligibility, right?
Mhm.
So like if I was little guy Joe in the middle of Southern California working out of my garage or whatever, and I could get you the same product for, maybe even $1 cheaper than the guy that ships it Prime from this massive warehouse in Chicago, Like you would always get the Chicago filter first, and I would run out of business. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I don't know. I don't like. You're right though. I don't like cherry picking. Maybe there's a filtering option that could go in there. I don't know. But anyways, back to the shack.
Yeah. Back to the shack.
So
So they're basically they're in chapter 11. The shack is closing down slowly but surely.
what's really crazy is their little bubble map they put on this map box.
That shows all the closing
Yeah,
ones.
dude.
Yeah.
That is rough.
It looks like
Nothing in Idaho though.
the one right by me is closed. You know?
Really? It looks like the Spokane
No,
one.
well, no. No, if you zoom in on it, it says Post Falls.
Uh-oh. Oh, there's two. Oh my God, the more you zoom there.
The more you zoom in, the more you see it. Yeah, the Post Falls one. Yeah, I may have to go over there after the show. See if
That's so
see if
sad.
there's anything we
We
need.
can't just predict their demise and then go shop them out while they're all on ultra discount, can we?
Yeah, we can.
I don't know about you, but I can. I'm loading up on 3.5 millimeter microphone jacks, my friend.
Do you know how many RCA cables I need? Because I need them all.
I want one of everything in each color.
That's right.
And then ask them if they could
Can
order
I
you
get-
more. Sir.
I feel like I'm gonna go in, ask for something, and then they'll tell me just get it on Amazon.
Yeah, sir. Well, they did last time you were in there.
The last time they did, right? That's what I'm saying. They're just gonna do it
That's
again.
Terrible. That is.
It
Horrible.
is terrible. It is. It's no bueno, sir. No bueno indeed. All right, so we should probably take a break right now,
Okay.
and then we'll come back with our discussion topic.
So long, Radio Shack.
Buying a used vehicle can be very stressful, but HaggleChamp.com makes it much easier. At HaggleChamp.com, all you have to do is tell us what make, model, and year that you're after, and we'll alert our dealer network. Our dealers will give you their offer, and you can declare your #1 contender. That's the offer you like the best so far. This then re-notifies the dealer network and encourages them to give you an even better deal. It's free to use, so head over to HaggleChamp.com. That's HaggleChamp.com.
Welcome back, Founder Nation. This is Foundations for Founders. I am Angel in Seattle.
And I am Dan in Post Falls.
And this, of course, is brought to you by HaggleChamp.com, where you can buy like a champ, save like a champ.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So, no more Shack. Can order a kitten for 15 minutes for $40. Got an Ubuntu phone that nobody can see unless you are in England or
Europe.
Europe.
Right.
Doesn't seem like we have a lot of domestic business impact today, man. What do we got for the discussion topic?
So the discussion topic is based off a Bloomberg view.com. So Bloomberg's kind of like blog. And the headline reads, "Sorry millennials, we're out of the job you want." So basically the blog post is about how a lot of millennials, so younger generation, is feeling that they're uncomfortable with the idea of sales and that they don't really want to take that risk and they would rather have a lower position in a stable job where sales wasn't their big risk factor, where they're,
So you mean like commission only driven jobs?
Or commission based, like maybe you have a pay base and then you can make more because of commissions. Even that they kind of steer away from because for whatever reason they feel sales is exploitive or whatever. And unfortunately in today's day and age, sales is still a big thing. I mean, it always is and always will be. That's the heart of consumers, selling stuff, either a product or a service. So it's kind of a catch-22. Like, one of the big marks against millennials is, they want it all just handed to them. Well, not necessarily, but at the same time, you got to work for it, and you got to, sometimes you have to take a sales position or a sales-like position,
Yeah, I would agree. One thing that's bothered me was trying to figure out exactly when the millennial generation started, and I think it's funny that the Google search result just stamps 1980 millennial start date. But the description says it's the demographic cohort following Gen X. There are no precise dates when the generation starts and ends, but researchers and commentators use birth years ranging from the early 1980s to the early 2000s, because I think you and I are kind of on that Gen X millennial cusp, you know what I mean?
We're the older side. Like, I was born in 1980.
Yeah.
So.
And like, but yeah, I mean, we are that cusp few because we can remember a time when there was no internet. You know what I mean? Like, new millennials don't. And I heard an interesting argument. I may have actually, went off on this on the show earlier, but, the whole generational outlook between, the pinnacle of technology in business performance then and now, like the assembly line model where everything's very linear versus a millennial outlook, which is very iterative and, simultaneous document creation, editing, all kinds of stuff. Nobody really knows the final product when it rolls off the end of the assembly line and sees a completed product like the way you would back then, right? And it's just this rolling machine, and then the idea, the thought, the product is done, stamped and delivered when it rolls off the end of the assembly line. It doesn't work like that anymore. You have to change and adapt to the fact that things can be moving and shaking simultaneously. Everybody has a common idea of what the product can look like, and it will change 13, 14, 15 times, sometimes more, sometimes less, because of the amount of work that goes into it. So I don't think we could pigeonhole this particular blog post from Megan McArdle as exactly all millennials just don't want the old school sales job, right? Like, I don't think that's fair, just as a lead-off argument, I guess, as far as, that may be the general consensus, but I think the way that work is approached in modern day, particularly in the tech industry, it's not the old 9 to 5 anymore.
No, it isn't. And I think it's a little bit of both. And I think, too, that this is the generation that was raised on, like, Cribs and reality TV and all these things where, I don't know, there used to be this mystique almost of wealthy people and how, like, that was an admirable thing to aspire to. And now it's not so much,
Right. I can see that, like, socially speaking, right? Like that the American dream has evolved a little bit.
Yeah, and I think people are starting to realize that money isn't everything, in the 80s it was very much the materialistic society, and then the 90s we had the counter to that with the grunge movement, and now we have almost the complete opposite in whatever you call this, the tens, I guess, with this whole, like, let's be organic and of the earth and all this stuff. It's almost like a rejection of the 80s materialism.
Yeah, I've thought about that at length from a social point, actually. Like, the 50s and the exploration boom, and the 60s and the love, and the 70s being the rebellion generation, and the 80s being, like you said, the materialistic and acclamation of wealth. And, even in pop culture at the time, that was in all the Hollywood movies, and you know what I mean? Like, it was super cool and recognizable to have the red, Ferrari or whatever in like every modern movie of the era, right? And like the 90s being the rebellion. Like, I don't think this generation necessarily has an identity. I mean, not to get too ultra political on it, but like, what are we? The cell phone generation? Like, payphones are gone, right? But like, I don't know, maybe that I just feel like a lot of us in that cusp millennial generation are kind of lost for a generational identity. And I don't think it's a bad thing either. I
think if I had to pinpoint it, I would say it's more about feelings than anything.
You think so? I mean,
because a lot of people are like
that. It's just
because I mean, talk to people and they're like, I don't feel that's wrong. I don't feel that's right. I don't feel this is a good fit for me. I don't feel like no, I'm serious.
No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, kind of, almost a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, this is clearly not business related. This is a social topic, but Like, absolutely, man. Like, it's like we've struggled so long to find that generational identity that it's almost, I guess, introverted in and of itself. Like, it's very selfish and I am me and reliant, and a lot of our generation is single parent household. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
uh,
It's the vast
yeah,
majority.
I mean, things change, but you have to look at that in a business perspective too. The way you communicate. I mean, this is the acquiring a job and the differences between the outlooks on, the old school sales position, which we'll explore, versus now. I mean, that's exactly what I do, the old school sales position approach for our business. But like communicating within the workplace between a baby boomer, or an older Gen Xer and a millennial, it is difficult. Like, it is tough
Yeah.
because you come off as, when you have multiple teams adapting on the same idea, working from different sources or from home or telecommuting in on certain things, and it's, simultaneously being revised, changed, and published, and people are doing the coming soon, and it's being advertised. You look to, and I'm not saying this is in every case, but in a lot of cases, it's been my experience that with a boomer, for example, trying to give them a progress report on a particular job that you're doing makes you come off like you don't know what you're doing, you're goofing around, you're lazy, because they can't conceptualize, or at least not all of them, mind you. A lot of them
Mm-hmm.
cannot conceptualize that your job is done when there's a finished product that rolls off the line, right? That's what they know. That was the
Right.
pinnacle, 9 to 5 work. You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's goal oriented. It's
well,
it's
you can have
we have
goals. I mean,
X product
not
widget and
fixed.
we're
They're
done.
just different to communicate to people that are hell bent on one way of thinking, which is, and I'm not, again, not every case, which is, it's done when it's done, and then we can release it and move on, and there's a time and place for that even in modern business today, especially when it's hard deadline goals and there are a particular method to get it done. But when you're coming
Mm-hmm.
up with, like think tank style projects, or, even optimizing procedures that exist, like revisions to particular handbooks, policies, software that you're working on, whatever, there's a completely generationally different way of going about how you produce work on a specific project. And sometimes that is difficult as a footnote to communicate to somebody not of the same generation as yourself. I found that in
Right.
my own work and had to explain it as such before everyone got on board. Like, perhaps we're looking at how to accomplish a goal from two completely different things. Opened up a wide world of communication I could lecture on for a long time, but we'll go back to the story anyway. So
No.
that they're saying in a lot of senses, the 9 to 5 salaried position in this article is an artifact of the industrial era. That's almost exactly my point, right?
Yeah. Oh, it absolutely is.
But I think
It,
they're later saying that's kind of what's being craved now by modern millennials, is the stability in that work environment, or what?
right. But the problem is work nowadays is so fluid. I mean, this is the generation that can make an income by selling stuff on Amazon or Etsy, or they may not be living in a mansion, but they can make a living
I know motorcycle
and do
riders
that.
that do video blogs with camera strapped
Yeah.
to their helmet and get enough channel subscribers that's their core source of income.
Right.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's almost like money is easier to acquire, but at the same time, it's not stable,
Yep.
and that's the problem. It's almost like they would, the millennial generation, according to this, would swap stability for actual dollar amounts.
Yeah, and the interesting point, this article says technology is making it much easier to do things on a smaller scale. It has taken over the coordination tasks that, say, brick and mortar stores and regular shifts had once served. And that's a great economic advance in many ways. There were a lot of inefficiencies baked into the old systems, but it does mean that workers are going to be exposed to a lot more variability in their income than most of them were raised to expect.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And I
Right.
firmly
Yeah.
think that outlook changes generationally, but yes, I would agree.
Right. I would agree too, but at the same time, you've got like who is it? Like Pat Flynn and Lewis Howe and what's his name? The guy that runs Entrepreneur on Fire, and all these guys just touting making a passive income where it's not even like you go chase it. It's just you kind of do this thing on the side, and it'll generate so much money, and you can just live your life. And I don't know if that's true. I don't know. I mean, I guess for some people it is, but at the same time, like, we also need the worker bees, We need.
Well, I
I
think
don't
in
know.
some sense, when it comes to, again, this is more of a social issue, but when it comes to the contribution of yourself, your mark on this planet, on commerce, on insert name of putting your mark on this productive piece of society that we're all in, like, it is still going, this is limited, I guess, to the American way, where it's, very capitalism driven and things like that. Like, that would in essence be the American dream if you could retire at 35 because you have unquote passive or residual or insert name of income here that's not actively clocking in and out someplace or actively performing a set series of tasks in order to accomplish an income for somebody else or yourself. Yeah, I guess so, right? But that's kind of what investment firms have been selling since the dawn of time. And like
Mm-hmm.
I think you can put active business investments every day into different things that are not putting money into a mutual fund, for example, right? And
Right.
some of those are fulfilling and rewarding in the fact that you could be the type of person that really gets a smile on your face and a kick out of producing and accomplishing goals within a specific project that has nothing to do with you, or that's purely money driven, and actually make money off of that, whatever that may be. But it is cool. I mean, it kind of boils down to enjoying what you do, I think. But
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that this article is so subjective. Like, it means probably different to me than what the listener would read and garner from it. But I mean, they do a lot of generalizations, but it is an interesting topic, I guess, to look at. You know what I mean? Because in a lot of ways,
Yeah.
from a broad stroke, I suppose, statistics or not, you'd have to agree. Like, well, sure, there's nobody wants, when you put it that way, nobody wants to take a job where there's so much risk on the amount of money that they're going to make. You know, the commission only used car sales guy, right? You got
Right.
to sell X amount in order to make X amount of money in order to survive. You got yourself or
Mm-hmm.
your self independence involved in that. Like, that's still business. I'm not going to say that's modern business, but that's still business, right?
Right.
Nobody wants to be put in a position where it's like, well, it's I got to sell this or it's my mortgage, right? Like, that I can see,
Right.
but I don't really think that's limited to millennials per se. I don't know. What do you think?
Right.
I feel like I'm just
I
talking over the conversation. I'm sorry.
no, it's good. I think in some ways we're in that position because we have a startup company and we're on the edge and it's like, we got to make this thing go and make it grow and all those things. So I think you and I, that's why I was saying earlier that we might be a little bit biased because it's almost like we're a little bit more comfortable with the risk just because we're in it, you know? We wouldn't have started a company and put money into it if we weren't willing to risk, you know?
I agree,
Um,
but I mean, not to belabor a point, but as we grow, I think
mhm.
our tolerance for risk is going to go down, and I think the machine running in a direction that we have set forth is going to need to remain on course through highs and lows because we're going to have more people affected by our high level of
Our
risk decisions.
decisions
Yeah,
and
yeah,
yeah. Well, and I think too part of it is like neither one of us are married, neither one of us have children. So we're in a position in our life where we can kind of do this, you
right.
know? So I think that's part of it as well.
Yeah, risk
Um,
tolerance versus dependency, sure. I would not want to be
yeah.
solely dependent on, selling our product to, getting a larger membership base, right, in order to, find my next meal, sure. I mean, but that's a logic problem. That's not a millennial problem to me. Yeah,
Right.
but
Right.
I would
And we're
agree.
just not.
Yeah,
Yeah, and we're not there yet. Once we're there, then yeah, it feels
I think
more
so.
comfortable.
I think so.
Yeah.
And unless, there's an offer that just couldn't be refused, and the champ sells to XYZ company for XYZ dollars, and then that's it, right? Then we go off on our merry
I
way.
guess. Yeah, right off into
There
the
you go.
sunset.
But still,
Yeah.
that's going to be situationally based, and it's going to be the apropos American dream for dollars rather than your passive income. That's going to be that's going to prove that point one way or the other, right?
Right. Absolutely.
But I enjoy what we do from the basis of what we can give back, right? Like,
right. So do I.
To me, that there's a lot of value there, and I'm not saying that to martyr the fact that I enjoy having money. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm-hmm.
but absolutely, and I think that's kind of what sets my outlook apart a little bit on what we do
Mhm.
versus whatever. But that could be the same thing for brick and mortar, man. Like if we opened a sandwich shop tomorrow, you know what I mean? Like I would still
Right.
want to give back to the community, get involved and meet people and do that kind of thing, and
Well, it would have to be a vegan
oh
sandwich
God,
shop.
yeah.
I know. I had to
Yeah.
mention it at
Mhm.
some point. Right.
Yeah, for the drinking game. By the way, I didn't forget
Yes.
about
Talk
you.
to me.
Like we've got to do that live event, man.
Oh, I know
Yeah.
we do. Yeah.
We've got
Well,
to
and the snow stopped here, so
Yeah, I know.
we can finally
Life
do
kind
it.
of went really crazy over those last few weeks, but we got to settle down and do that. I'm getting
Yeah, we got to do it.
I'm getting complained at. We gotta
Okay.
hold up our end of the deal.
All right, we
Yeah.
will do it. We will
Mhm.
do it.
Any
We
more
will.
bets you want to make though, while we're on topic?
About
I don't know.
what?
Anything I can get you to lose a bet for?
Do you? Okay, so how's this? So we hired that sales guy because you were very ecstatic about
Yep.
him and very
Very excited.
okay. How about if he can get paying clients by I'll give you the end
Oh,
of March.
dude, we're not gonna crucify him on air, are we?
No, not him.
Yeah, we are. That
You.
is a direct result of his performance based on my appraisal.
That's true. He's your boy, Blue.
He's my
No, I'm
boy,
kidding.
but I'm not putting him on Front Street like that.
Okay. All right. That's true. All right. You like how I just go for the jugular like immediately?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gave a shout
Yeah.
out to Tim.
Yeah. Tim's not the sales
I know
guy.
Tim's not the sales guy, but I can't stop doing it. Tim. Yeah.
Tim.
Uh,
Okay.
we gotta get Tim on the show. Okay, let's place a bet on if we can get the entire board of directors to appear on Foundations for Founders to say something uplifting to the Founder Nation for us.
Oh man, I would love Scott on the show so
I want to see
much.
Tim. I want to see Scott. I want to see Brian. I want to get the guys out. I don't think they're
Yeah.
going to do it at all, to be perfectly honest.
Brian's
But
interested.
I think you would bet that way too. So if I bet against it and said, we've got to have them all on the show.
There's no way we'll get them all.
Yeah, like I think we would both bet the same way. So we'll think of something in modern business. Maybe we'll do a stock fluctuation bet on some benign company that we choose out of a hat. I don't know.
I don't know, man.
We'll figure something out.
I guess we'll come up with a bet eventually. Yeah.
But anyway, in final closing notes on Bloomberg View's opinion, curious, this was written by, and it's a very interesting piece. I'll give him that. I enjoyed it. I don't wholeheartedly agree with the broad strokes, but the finer points are driven home. So this was one author, right? Like, do they have a pool of people? Do we know? This Megan McArdle at Bloomberg.net. Like, you read this blog clearly more than I do. I mean, is it always Megan?
I just came across this on one of my.
I got you. It's just one of the feeds.
Yeah. I don't read this blog regularly,
okay.
but no, just the story was very interesting to me, and I just thought, well, that's a good discussion topic. what's going on with modern business and the younger generation and what's up.
Yeah,
You
I
know.
think so. I mean, I kind of deflated the whole thing a little bit. I apologize, but
Not really. Because I think there's some truth in that. People don't. I think there's a fear of risk, and I think it's almost in direct relation to. For so long, we've heard just follow your dreams, do what you want, and then like for every amazing success story, there's like 10 failure stories. And I think since the bad outweighs the good, people are more, at least now, apt to, well, I don't want to, I'd rather not and not be a failure. When they don't realize that even in failing, you can win because you can learn something awesome from it.
I would agree. I think there's a lot of economic parallels in that too. I mean, we saw the 2000 late 7, all of 08 and 09, crash with all of the bad rated bonds, and it's the first time we haven't had a rated bond for real estate and all that. When the bubble collapsed and all of that. Like I think that drove home that's in the buying era for yours and my generation. That hits us square on the buying a house age. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like we've seen what happens when Wall Street can get a little nutty. We've seen the negative impacts of all the bailouts that have happened. Like I think I would agree with you wholeheartedly on that. I think there's probably parallels to be drawn economically for that. But I mean, anyone that's ever had a secure job that they've lost, right, can feel that. I've had a few, you know what I mean? I've had amazing jobs where, one particular company was being the ownership group, not the management part of it, but the ownership group just lost all of their money and ended up letting it go into bankruptcy. So I go to work one day and find that there's a foreclosure notice on the building I work at. And so when that gets sold to somebody else and they bring in a new management company and all of the executive staff gets liquidated, it's like the writing's on the wall and there's nothing you can do about it, but it's painful, man. Like that was, absolutely loved what I did. It was exclusively in a sales and marketing perspective, it's hard, like, but I think those parallels can be drawn there. I think you're right. A lot of people change their assessment of risk as you get older, but I don't know. I don't think the old way of doing things is completely dead. There are, it's what the worker bee mentality, right? There are things that make commerce tick in this country, and it is a unique ecosystem that doesn't matter what you do, but I mean, even today, I mean, would you agree that college education versus, I heard your story on that other podcast because you betrayed us and you were on another podcast.
I got to get the champ out there, yo.
No, but seriously, like you had a really unique and interesting story, which I know, but not a whole lot of other people know, about how you got started in news, right? And the guy, you could tell the story because I would butcher it, but for lack of a better term, apparently the guy says, you're funny, so if you can pass a drug test and show up at 8 o'clock here tomorrow, I'm going to give you this job, right? And what in any of that situation did your, time in college education, your, degree or not degree, is it more who you know than what you know? Is it more of a team? I mean, I think as sick as this is going to sound, I think your education means less and less unless you're in a very unique and specific field nowadays. You used to be able to get a job because you had a bachelor's of science on your degree. Bam, and you'd make an extra $7,000 a year more than the next guy. It didn't matter what you did, right? Because it shows I know how to learn, I follow through with what I do, and I mean, there's value there. I'm not defacing the value of education as a whole, but in a lot of ways I am when it comes to modern business, right? Like, you should tell that story. It's interesting. I like it.
Do you want me to tell how I got into TV?
I think it's relevant. I think it's relevant.
Okay, so essentially what happened is I was going to the local community college, and I knew I wanted to work in TV and film some way, and basically they happened to be recording a PBS style show that one of the longest shows in the country, I don't know, if not the longest, Public Forum with Tony Stewart, and that show was horrible and all sorts of boring. It was just, people talking about politics and just I didn't like it personally.
So,
but
not the race car driver Tony Stewart, right? Just clear that. Okay.
No. It was a local college professor.
Okay. Because Google failed.
Yeah.
That one. Sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. It wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't the race car driver. That would have been kind of awesome, actually. But so I was working on the show. I applied to work on it and got on, and I was a camera operator and quickly became a board op running audio. Before that, I had worked in radio simply because I called the local radio station and said, "Hey, do you need an intern? Because I'd love to do it," and they let me in. There's an old saying: "You have not because you ask not."
Right.
So sometimes you just gotta ask. You have no idea,
Mm-hmm.
And so they brought me on. Everything was great, but the show was boring. So when I became a board op and I was in the control room, I would make fun of that show mercilessly. I can't even remember the stuff. But we would crack up so much, just joking around, talking about how this show was just ridiculous. And just one day, the guy running the show comes up to me and says, "Hey, you're really funny, and you've got a great work ethic. How would you like a job at KHQ?" KHQ is the NBC affiliate in Spokane, Washington. And I was like, "Oh, that sounds awesome. What's a KHQ?" And because I didn't know,
Right.
And he tells me and explains it to me, and basically I was half an hour late to my job interview, which totally what you want to do because I didn't know the city at the time.
Right.
And I walked in and he goes, "Oh, good, you're here." I mean, I did call like, "Hey, I can't find the place," and he told me where to go. And this is before cell phones, really. It was in '99, so cell phones weren't as prevalent. And so I walked in and he goes, "Oh, good, you're here. Here's where you need to go take your drug test, and let me introduce you to some of the people you'll be working with." Like there was no real interview.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's how I started working in TV. And it was what you were saying. It was just because I knew the guy and I made him laugh and he liked me. So, likability is a big thing.
I think so, yeah. It's that character assessment and evaluation. Like, not very many people get to do that with, just the random resume that hits your desk kind of thing. But, yeah, it's powerful, man, I think, because, that went on for as long as it did. You were extremely successful in that. You did some career moving on and, took some different paths and things like that. But ultimately it was not, the old school pen and paper resume, applying against 200 or 300 other guys that are just as good or better, with no experience or with experience. I don't know. I like that story a lot. I think there's a lot of different values in there. I mean, it speaks well to your character, of course, but I don't know. It reminds me not to pigeonhole every resume I see for our company and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So
right. Because you never know. Well, you're the one who even told me you hire for what, ability or
Oh,
you
hire personality. You can train the context. You can train
right.
the work, right? Like a well-trained
Yeah.
chimpanzee can do what I do, right? But the way I do it can be matched by nobody but me, right? So like in that, I definitely look for personality and the ability to be willing to learn and move forward in things. You could train for skill all day, right? Like it's tradecraft is not as unique as it once was in the blacksmithing days, but you've got to have the right mind, you've got to have the right personality. So yeah.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's just pretty much every major job I had was I didn't even have to put in a resume. It was just, "Hey, do you want this?"
That's
sure.
so cool.
Yeah.
I not so much.
So.
I had to
Yeah.
tooth and nail my way into a few, you know what I mean? But
Yeah. I do that with relationships, but not with jobs.
Again, you can tweet at him at Dan Reyes.
Hello, ladies. It's Valentine's Day around the corner.
Oh my God, it is. You're right. What a
Yeah, there you
Valentine's
go.
Day show, man.
Yeah, yeah.
We should go on location to someplace really ridiculous for Valentine's Day, and just hand out flowers and be like, "Hey, tell us what you love about, I don't know, commerce. It's the Founder Nation." Mm-hmm.
Did T-charts just make you happy?
Yeah, graphs and charts. You know me.
Graphs and charts,
for
baby.
Sure.
Isn't that a Postal Service song?
Oh, I don't know. I know that Maps and Atlases is an awesome band.
Oh, okay.
You should check them out. I think you'd like them a lot.
I probably will.
Maps and Atlases. Anyway, we should get out.
Anyways, we should be wrapping it up.
We should get the hell out of here.
Yeah. We've had a long show today.
It was a good one. I love it.
It was a good one. I was happy with it.
Founder Nation. That's at FFF_nation.
You know what? No, don't tell us if you love it. Tell Ralph Macchio that you loved it.
That you liked it.
That he should be on it.
He should be on the show. We love Ralph Macchio dearly. We'd love to pick.
I would crane kick all the news stories just to get him on and talk to him.
Yeah, just to have like an open session, or have him show, have him react to the news stories. There you go.
That would be amazing. We don't interview him. It's just like he's there, and that's it. That'd be kind of awesome.
Back to you, Ralph. Just
right. Every time he talks, we're like, "Shut up, Ralph." No.
All right, man. I'm getting out of here.
Nobody wants to hear you. No. All right.
Mistreat it like he becomes Ralph the intern. We can't do that.
Right. Ralph Macchio's our intern. Oh man, that would be hilarious. Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, we should wrap it up. Say goodnight, and then I gotta go edit this and put it on the internet.
Good night, internet. Good night, Founder Nation.
Good night, internet, or good day, whatever it is you listen to this. So.
Until next time.
Till next. Yeah. Bye.